Hey guys, it's your humble host, or Kayla if you prefer, so I'm back with another video. I wanted to talk to you guys about something, kind of bring something to your attention, and it's after I've spoken to a few different fathers this week, not to mention Jeffrey Younger from Save James. After listening to some of the updates with that one, and then speaking to two other parents going through custody battles, very nasty ones, mind you, I wanted to present to you just some of the thoughts that were shared in those conversations, and it's what if this is all a really big game? Think about it, because with the connection between the Save James Younger and the Stand With Sophie case, some of these people are friends with each other. And I also want to present the idea, too, that what if, because we've always seen this when it comes to custody battle, oh, the fathers always get demonized versus the moms, they're automatically assumed to be innocent. Well, the more cases I've seen, this isn't the case. I actually want to present the idea that this is a ruse used to keep parents pitted against one another, as well as far as this goes, women versus men. Let me explain. So in some of the cases, because this is a new one I just learned about tonight, and this one, wow, straight out of a horror film, Justice for Chase. If you guys have not heard about that one, I'll post the Facebook in the description below, but the mom has presented loads of evidence against the dad and his dad for sexually abusing little Chase, and there's court transcripts citing the FBI and how the FBI leaked information to the abusers, which is the father and the grandfather. There's a church involved, Lakeside View. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Let's see. Lakeside Apostolic Church in Louisiana, and it's just crazy. The kid talks about being in the middle of a circle of people in black robes. I mean, that's indication of a satanic ritual. That's the mom versus the dad, his dad, and not to mention you have a cult-like church involved. Another case is here in Illinois. Justice for James, or Justice for Carr's kids. Kara Witowski has been going up against James Riker Beale. I believe that's the name of it as well, because James is also the name of her son that she lost during this custody battle. Beale is a pedophile and rapist. There's evidence against him to where he had CP. He admitted in text messages to raping Kara. And then their son died. Kara tried to sound the alarm multiple times. They tried to intimidate Kara into silence. This is in Kings County in northern Illinois. Forgive me for the actual, I don't remember the city, but Kings County. And I'll post her page in the description below as well. And then, of course, you have here in Texas, you have Michael Long, you have Brad Lamb, you have Jeff. And then in Minnesota, the other case that I'm following and helping to cover is Bretton Nets. And both Jeff and Bretton have to fight not only the opposing party, but they have the freaking trans cult involved. And that's a whole other ball of wax. That is a whole other can of worms, because that adds a whole other complicated faucet to the custody battle overall. Let me remind you guys, I'm not legally proficient. I'm not a counselor. I'm not any of these things. But the more I look into this stuff, the more that I follow certain cases, and I can't cover all of them. I'm only one person. My sanity can only take so much. But at the same time, what if it's all a game? It's lawyers going back and forth. Who can get the most money out of who? Have you noticed during custody battles, if you follow the pattern, they always say follow the money, and they always award the parent that has more money? Why is that? Why is that? Take, for example, Save James. The opposing party, in that case, Anne Georgelas, who is trying to turn her 7-year-old son, James, younger, into a girl against his wishes. There is loads of evidence against this notion because James wants to be a boy. I've met the boys. There is a hearing coming up on the 25th, an evidentiary hearing. But so she has a lot of money. She has ties to Children's Health, who's doing a study on children with gender dysphoria, quote unquote, have been diagnosed. They always go with the parent that has the most money. Why? Because they can line their pockets with them. It's not mothers versus fathers. I'm really starting to see now the more cases that are scattered around. It is a freaking ruse. Y'all have been played. We have been played, because this also goes more into the divide of men versus women. Anybody who's been on my channel for a while knows exactly what I'm referring to. And if not, let me introduce you to the concept. So I am pro-nuclear family. I'm traditional family. I believe in God. I was Pentecostal raised. I've come to a lot of decisions and have a lot of revelations of my own. I'm not brainwashed. For a while, I did walk away from God. Anyway, the reason why I say all that, because there's a video in here that describes the analogy that God gave me, that marriage is like a sword, and it goes into all the bits and pieces. God being the pommel, it's a small but very important piece. You have the hilt and the handguard being the children and the mother, and then you have the tang, which goes all the way down, burrowed deep into the overall handguard, all the way to the pommel, and then you do have the blade with that tang being the husband. No piece on that sword can be weak. There is no such thing. If you have one piece on that sword that is weak or feeble, that sword is done. Anyway, that will also be in the link in description. But my point of bringing that up is we've seen a breakdown, because this all ties in together, man. This really does, and people really need to start to wake up as to what's really going on. Is they've tossed out God. They've feminism came in and was like, oh, hey, women, it's oppressive for you to be taking care of your children. It's oppressive of you to be in the kitchen. It's oppressive of you to do this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then they went after men. Oh, man, you have toxic masculinity. Oh, man, you should have your feminine side, da, 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 da. And they've broken down the relationship between men and women, and now they're going after the very materials of the blade, which is the children. The children are our future, after all. The older generations won't listen to the freaking bullshit going on. So what do? They go after the children. We have Netflix put out movie cuties. Ugh, I can't even sit through the trailer. I can't even make it 5 seconds through the freaking trailer. It's disgusting. You have drag queen. You have children being handed over to pedophiles. You have a lot. This is what these custody cases are also bringing out too. Let me remind you that. Do you guys notice the main theme going on of the corruption being exposed in our country? It's the violation of our children. It's the violation of our future. Have you guys put these puzzle pieces together yet? Do you realize what they're teaching in school? The way that they're trying to program these kids. A lot of teachers came out, like when a lot of schools went to virtual learning, a lot of teachers bemoaned, oh, well, we should keep the parents out of it. The children need privacy or whatnot, and a safe space to learn. Yeah, bullshit. A lot of people called these teachers out on it because they plastered this crap all over Twitter. What else do we have going on? We have a lot of fear-mongering over this and that. Our country has a dark history when it comes to our children. A very dark history, whether that's immigrant children, whether that's our own children, or what we help to do to children in other countries. I'll take, for example, because this is a spiritual battle too. Did you know that I believe it was the Church of Satan or the Temple of Satan, because there's two of these guys now, came out and said that abortion is a ritual? I'm not shitting you. I will find the article and put it in the link in the description. There is a war on our children. There is a war on the family. There is people making money off of these custody battles. I learned something tonight, and I'll remind you too, because I talked about the motion for Save James that Ann George's filed, amended motion to modify custody. Did you know, and I need to look up this dude's name, I'm trying to look at my tab to see if I have the name here. She didn't want Judge Mary Brown's associate judge having any say in this case at all. Do you know why? His name is Judge Eck, E-Y-C-K, because he blasts parents, mostly mothers have been caught doing this, performing or having unnecessary medical procedures or examinations done on their kids. Munchausen by proxy. That is a big thing going on right now. But she didn't want the judge having a say, and I actually learned that O'Donnell agreed to it. Why? I just spoke with Jeff tonight, and he told me, oh, well, because it would have been more money because you have to pay for a court recorder. And then there's something else that I learned during my conversation with Jeff that O'Donnell refuses to do because it's more money, and it's just like, that's just an example. That's just an example. And it makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. So you're going to put your client through the ringer through a judge who is friends with a wackadoo counselor who's not even a real counselor but a social worker, instead of, because they're going to spend more money either way. But here's the difference. You want to know what the difference is? The associate judge probably would have put a nail in this case. And I really do believe that. And it probably would have cost less money to go that route than to do this bullshit. It's about the money. And, don't get me wrong, I have had a lot of respect for O'Donnell. But after tonight, what I just learned, dude, that is scary. And you know what? Screw it. I'm going to say what the other thing was. I didn't get told to keep my mouth shut about it. O'Donnell doesn't want this going to the Supreme Court. He doesn't, because it's going to cost more money. Well, isn't that the idea? Isn't that the big idea of not letting this judge, this associate judge, intervene and kind of stick a stake through everything, go, that you're done, because he's done that to so many parents, mostly mothers, Munchausen by proxy, is like, you're putting your child through unnecessary medical examinations and procedures. He's known for this. He hates that shit. But you're taking your client through this route. I mean, do you guys understand where I'm going with this? I'm not trying to besmirch anybody, but, and I'm not trying to make this just Save James focused, because there's a lot of cases that are just circling around that are just, it's hell. And if you really look down the nitty gritty, there's evidence. These parents, like Michael Long, I don't know the name of the mom for the Chase situation. Let me see, because I have her GoFundMe pulled up. I believe the name is Brooke Benenate. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. But she has mountains of evidence. There's examinations done. There's hospitals. There's people giving their opinion, medical opinion, that you need to file a restraining order against the father and grandfather and get that child the hell away from them now. But it's not happening. Why? Money. The lawyers don't make money if these cases get solved right away. I spoke with Brad Lamb a few days ago about this, and he used the term racketeering, and just, it makes sense. It makes sense. Why would you ignore mountains and mountains of evidence against the opposing party? You don't make any money solving a case. Did you guys know for custody battles and divorce, battles, the lawyers, there is no cap on how much a lawyer can make on the case. There is none. I think they've been trying to establish one in the state of Texas, but there is none at all. So many parents are left in the dark. They're told to go and rot, and their children gets put through some sort of system. Did you know CPS, for each child they either foster or rehome or pull, they get money. It's disgusting. And this is anything that's government run turns into just a game for money. I'll give you an example. This is a little bit different, but this is also government run, because I told this story too when I went to Job Corps. Okay, I went to Job Corps and there was a freeze on admission, and I forget why. There's freeze on admission, so that means no more students, no more money. So I was getting into arguments with my instructor. I'm like, you know what? Watch what they do with the senator. They had a senator going to come through and, to examine all the classes and whatnot. So what did this Job Corps do? I told her, watch this. They pulled a lot of students out of a lot of these classes and hid them in the medical area for a video on circumcision. It was some bullshit excuse, whatever. But they took all these students and they hid them. Okay? So I told my instructor, watch this. She's going to come in, the senator's going to come in, see that the classroom is empty, and is going to go back and tell people that they need more students, and they need to open admissions again. Again, more admissions means more money. Lo and behold, senator comes through, sees the classroom is empty. Admissions did get open a little bit later. My instructor's mouth dropped. I'm like, I freaking told you. She stopped arguing with me after that. That's just an example of anything government run. And it's not true just for CPS. Anyway, just an example. But getting back to that, it's not the ruse is mothers versus fathers. That is the ruse. And I'm really seeing it because they always say, oh, well, it's the court's bias against dads. The court is bias against moms. And it's just like, well, it's such a mixed bag. Justice for Chase. The mom is trying to rescue her son from a cult-like church, which there's indication of satanic rituals. Oh my word. And there's the FBI involved, leaking information to the abusers. There is Justice for James, which, again, it's the mom trying to fight against the system because she already lost a kid. Lost a kid because of spinal injury, because her ex-lover, Beal, and his father were sexually abusing both kids, and the little boy's gone. He passed away last December. That's why you see the Justice for James, because she lost her child because the system failed him. It makes these guys way more money when they keep these cases going, especially the judges and the lawyers. And I'm really starting to see that, because this isn't mothers versus fathers. That's the ruse. You got to dig a bit deeper than that, because the more parents I talk to, the more cases I'm seeing, it's like, it's not just the courts are biased against the dads, or the courts are just biased against the moms. You dig into the details of each case and see the amount of evidence, and then you really start putting the pieces together. Our children, to them, are a business, whether that's through CPS. Let me tell you something. For those of you who do not know or do not believe me, I want you to look up a prominent lawyer, Mark Angelucci, M-A-R-C, and then A-N-G-E-L-U-C-C-I. He was a prominent CPS, or he was a prominent lawyer in the state of California. He was also part of the Coalition for Men. He was getting ready to take on CPS of Texas. And when, a few days before they went to trial, he was shot dead twice in the head in his front yard. If you don't, and there's been talk about senators, I can't remember if it's out of the state of Arizona. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, please put it in the comments below. But for those of you who know what I'm talking about, people who rise up to battle this business, because this is now a business. These people don't give a shit to put families together. These people do not care what happened to your children. It's all a freaking business. And the more cases I'm seeing, and the more, this isn't mothers versus fathers. That is the roots. They will go with a parent that has the more money and that they can make a bigger deal out of. True. The more, look around on the cases, just the hashtags I've given you will have Save James, Save James Younger, Save Miles Gwartz, Justice for James, Stand with Sophie, Justice for Chase. The list goes on, dude. I mean, and you know what sucks about all this? This really does, is once you start following one, you start to see more and you cannot look away. That's what really sucks. Not because, oh hey, I don't want any part of this. It's because you realize just how big of a nightmare it really is. And you have to be careful that it doesn't drive you insane. I mean, I'm at the point, I don't want kids. I really don't. Simply because of the way that our children are being, in a sense, turned against us, used against us, whether it's for money, power, overthrow the country. I'm not kidding, dudes. You really need to start looking into this. What they're doing. We have, I'll tell you something else. So you guys remember Jeffrey Epstein, his pretty disgusting island? Well, he has a buddy, Maxwell. She's still alive, shockingly enough. She's been behind bars for a while, and you know what's starting to happen? They're starting to find missing children pop up everywhere. They found 39 in Georgia. It's a very weird coincidence. So, again, and hopefully this video made sense. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. But it's time to wake up. We have to stop playing with this. This is real. This is going on. You're either going to wake up and help fight it, or you're going to get dragged under and thrown to the chopper. That's pretty much how it is. I am scared to death of having kids. Just because of the more I see, the more it just goes, oh hell no. No. I will try to help fight for the ones that are already here, and I think that is kind of what I want to do. But I also got to make sure to take care of me and my sanity and my house. So I can't stick my head in every single one of these cases because I will go insane, and that's true for everybody. And I'm so glad to see more and more people wake up and go, holy hell, what is going on? When did this become a thing? It's always been a thing. It's been a thing for a very long time. Many companies are involved. Many people make money off of it. Our politicians make money off of it. Somebody had brought up Ted Cruz is now wanting to file charges or start a criminal investigation into Netflix for the movie Cuties. And people are like, well, that's great and all, but what about all the children being handed back to their sexual abusers? What about them? So, as I said, our politicians also make money off of this. They're paid to either keep their mouth shut. I'll give you an example. California. This one ought to piss you off pretty good. That's not my goal, but this is just an example. Y'all need to wake up. California. Governor Newsom just signed into law Scott Warner's bill, which lessens now any predator or pedophile that had sex with a minor. It used to be 10 years or more, I believe, if I remember that bill correctly, but now they went from first degree to, I guess, a misdemeanor. They lessened the punishment, and they included 10 years or less as the age gap. And you know what the whole purpose of Scott Warner's bill was? And I'll put the link in the description below to this bill or to the passing of it. It was to keep LGBT people off of the registry list. Why should that even be a focus? Why should that even be a thing of a sexual creed? If you're a pedophile, I don't give a shit what you identify as. You need the noose. But there it is. Anyway, this video has gone on long enough. Oh dear God, it's a half an hour. Almost. But yeah, hope you guys get what I'm saying. I will put a link to all the Facebook pages, if they have one, in the description below, or an article that talks about them. Again, what was referenced here, you have Save James, Save Miles Gortz, which those are fathers. You have Brad Lamb, which is also a father. You have Stand With Soapy, which is also the dad. On the other hand, you have Justice for Chase, which is the mom. You have Justice for James, which is the mom. Again, it's not mothers versus fathers. That is the ruse. This is something I'm now starting to realize. It is a game. They do this shit on purpose to keep people divided. This is how, if you catch on to it, they want to keep the family separated. If you break down the family, the relationship between men and women, mothers and fathers, and then you can throw in parent alienation, because the courts are also partaking of that, and they make money off of that as well. Oh, hey, this parent is evil because they don't allow you to see this parent, or this parent does this, and it's this parent's fault. A lot of you who have seen what I'm talking about can testify. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.